So yeah, like I was saying, it's nothing wrong with helping people, right? But at the same time, if you're a government of a country, yeah, and your country is kind of like in a very bad circumstances at the time, like inflation at an all-time high, you know, everything, you know, food, electric, water, everything is you know, astronomical price-wise, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, you're happy to fund and send billions and billions and billions of pounds abroad to do other projects. It's like, surely you have to fix your own country first and then help other people. Surely, if you see what I mean, you know, or help them, but also use some of the money to help the country too. At the same time, you know, it's okay to help people. So instead of sending them 40 billion or whatever it is they want to send them 20. You know what I mean? And use the other 20 to do something for your own country, and you know, to help out your own people. Like, to me, it's just like it's just madness. It's just complete and total utter madness. You know. It's all, to me, it's all orchestrated. You know, these people know what's really going on. You know, but yeah, you know, won't go too much into that because obviously I don't want to go too far off topic. But you know, you're dealing with some people. You know, these people, you know, got shady characteristics, as they would say. You know.
Yeah, I'm glad I've got the life that I've got.
Yeah, likewise.
You know, I mean, I've never really experienced war itself, or any bombing around me, do you know what I mean? I was born just after the Second World War, when this country was getting bombed a lot, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because the war ended in what, 44?
Something like that.
Yeah,
and then,
you were born in 65.
Well, my mum was born 45, just a year after the war.
Year after, wow. She was born at the right time.
So, there was a lot of destruction going on, especially around London and things, whatever, you know, buildings. Even there was a bomb just local, was just there, that nearly hit a tower here, you know, just missed and hit an old lady and she died, you know what I mean? That was local.
Yeah.
That was a Hitler bomb coming down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to hit the water tower.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, I'm glad about, you know, talking about the past, which is very important in a funny way. You know, it's I say, you know, really you've got to kind of forget about the past and learn from it. But, you know, the past is very interesting if you think about it. You know, I mean, you know, I'm getting quite old now. You know, I'm sort of climbing up to 60 now, whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, the past does fascinate me for some reason. You know, what else I've got to learn about apart from the past? What else have I got to think about apart from the past in a kind of way? You know.
Yeah.
About my memories or. You know, I mean, the future, you know, it's not happened yet, has it? You know, but the past has in a kind of way, you know, and it's a bit of a puzzle, the past, isn't it? You know, because like when you're born, you haven't got no past, you know, you're just born.
Yeah.
You know, it's just began basically, you know, it's only when you become sort of a month old, you've got a month's past to remember now, but basically you don't remember much when you're a baby because your memory's not expanded at all.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, you're hearing things at that age, and you're picking up words, you know.
Yeah, you're listening. You can hear everything. So, you can see. You're kind of seeing. You know.
So your sounds are just like vision in a funny way. You remember them. You know.
Yeah.
You remember, especially if your mum's saying it every day or whatever. Say this word, you know, and you pick it up, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And it's amazing, really, when you think about it. Like a child learns quite a lot before they're 6. You know, they know quite a lot of words. Basically, their soul's quite bright already. Do you know what I mean? You know, they've learned a few thousand words now. You know, by the time there's, you know, some children have anyway, not all children.
Yeah.
And some children have learned a few languages by then. That's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, it's happened. Let's put it that way. You know, because they've, you know, they're royalty or something, and they get educated straight away.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as they're born, they go. You know, as soon as you know, they've got lots of people, nannies looking after them, talking to them, teaching them different languages.
Yeah.
And so on.
Yeah.
You know, but I think every soul's got potential to sort of, you know, because we've all got memories. You know, and a memory is a very intelligent thing, if you ask me. You know, a thing that can remember just like a silicon chip can, basically. You know.
Yeah.
It's in our soul, you know. And, you know, when I talk about the past again, you know, my past personally, I had a fun childhood, and I had a good fun marriage as well, but it just went horrible at the end. You know what I mean? And I experienced the divorce part, which wasn't very nice, you know. And I can still remember it all now, but I still remember all the fascinating moments too. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
You know, and when I think about my past, I don't really regret anything.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. I mean, I kind of regret marriage, but how can you? You know, it's what it is. You know, and I feel like I'm just pleased that I don't regret anything. That I've done anything horrible in life to anyone else or anything. You know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
I've had a pretty pure life, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? And I want to keep it that way. You know, I'm sort of like wake up each day and I try to do the right things, basically. You know, for myself and everyone around me.
And I think that is super important, you know. And the more people that kind of adopt that kind of like mentality and that kind of like attitude, exactly that kind of mindset, the better, you know. The goal is to make a better and greater world. Like we were talking about earlier before we even turned the camera on, the goal in my eyes is for, you know, we need to work together to create a better, sustainable world for the future, you know. Why can't, you know, we need to make the, you know, that should always be the goal, to work towards a greater future collectively as a society and as a population, as a populace, to, you know, because once we're gone, you know, we've got to leave a good world behind for the future. You know, it would be very selfish of us to destroy the planet and everything else and be able to enjoy our lives while we were here, but leave it behind, just completely destroy it, so that the future generations then have to deal with the repercussions of what their ancestors created, you know, and did, you know.
I do believe that people do need being controlled, though.
Yeah.
In a funny way, you know.
Oh no, of course, yeah. People need, unfortunately, right, mate. There's a lot of people in society that need governance, if that makes sense, because they need someone to think for them. They like people. There's a lot of people out there that like people to think for them, so they don't have to think. They can just do what they're told. If you get what I'm saying, they can just abide by the rules, abide by the laws, and etc. 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 If you get what I'm saying, there was a lot of people that are like that. That's why there's few leaders and many followers. That's why the whole thing with celebrity comes from, essentially, really, when you think about it, is you got people who idolize a particular person, and that person becomes very followed, very, you know, popular, let's say on social media or worldwide or whatever, to the point where when they post content or something, might get seen by 500,000 people, 1 million people in 2 or 3 days' time.
That's right. Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know.
I think that's what makes a good personality, really. Like, I'm not saying I've got the best personality in the world, whatever, yeah, because I haven't. I know that there's better men than me.
Yeah.
You know, I've not had the best background. You know, I wish I was sort of like royalty, you know, and had the proper education. You know, but I think we all do.
Yeah.
You know, I wish that we all lived in a world where we're just educated about the truth. And educated in the right ways, you know. I don't think like education is always right, you know, like sometimes they teach you what you don't want to learn.
Yeah.
You know, and that's wrong, you see.
Yeah.
I think like, you know, with personality it's best, you know, good to be a calm person, isn't it?
Oh yeah, well yeah, it is, yeah. Once you find inner peace, right? It took me a little, well, it didn't take me a long time, because I was going to say by the time I hit like 19, 20, thankfully I was already on my journey. I was young, but I was already on my journey of transforming my life and soul searching and figuring out who I was, and you know what, you know, my passions and what drove me as a person and what made me happy, and etc. etc. But yeah, that's what really helped me to, you know, to develop my character, my personality. Like, you know, just when you find inner peace, like there's something about that when you're at peace with who you are and the world, and you're content with what you have, and know that you're blessed and
It's like being connected to God, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think it is in a way, for sure, mate. I would definitely attribute it to something spiritual.
Connected to the universe, say.
To the universe. It's something spiritual, for sure. Because when you feel at peace within yourself and with everything else, the world, with nature, with life, with everything else, you know, with what happens in the world, with everything, if you see what I mean. Once you get to that state of mind and that state as you know, you're kind of on that frequency, it's a wonderful and a beautiful thing. Like, you would just, you know.
And I feel like your personality can shine then a bit, you know.
Definitely.
If you found yourself, if you're finding a peace.
Yeah. And usually you become such a mentally strong person that not a lot of things like you know, things don't affect you like as much as they would like the average person, because you learn acceptance.
You learn to be stronger in life, I think.
Yeah, you learn.
Well,
yeah.
Mentally and physically.
Yeah. Because like everything in life, like even I was having a conversation with my son yesterday, and we were talking about making mistakes and things like this, and I said to him basically like, there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. Like, life is about learning, life is about lessons. Like I said to him, the only problem with making a mistake is if you continuously repeat that, or you continuously repeat that behaviour that's causing you to have, that's having a negative impact on you or your life, or a detrimental effect in any way, if you see what I mean. So I said, there's nothing wrong with making a mistake, because life is a learning process. You know, I said, because my son's only 10 years old, so I said to him, like, you know, it's okay to make mistakes, but it's just about learning from them and growing from them, like, and try not to repeat that mistake. So, you know, that you know. So next time you're wiser. You know, you can make a better decision. You're more informed. You know, you can make a better decision. You know,
I wouldn't say it's okay to make mistakes. It depends whether you're doing harm to anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And things, you know, as long as you're not harming anyone.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes. You
know.
Yeah. I think, like, if you're deliberately going out to harm people and destroy people's space.
Yeah. Yeah.
And happiness.
Yeah.
That's when it's wrong.
Of
you're
course.
doing wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people that they might be shouting in the streets and fighting, you know, but they don't care about anyone else's happiness. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of terrorism in a funny way. You know?
Yeah.
When people don't really care about anyone else's happiness, you know.
Yeah.
And they're destroying other people's lives, basically.
Yeah.
But so I think it's important to have peace of mind, like you say, and love yourself.
Yeah.
For what you are and who you are.
Yeah.
So I've not always loved myself, do you know what I mean? Because I've had disasters in my life, time after time, you know, like you know, I mean, when I was younger, not really aware of it. Like my mum and dad divorcing, you know, horrible divorce it was, whatever. But not really aware of it, but I could have had both my parents, you know, with me, and things could have been better for me, you know. And I struggled a bit at school and things, you know, and I didn't have the most happiest. I wasn't happy at school all the time, do you know what I mean? Sometimes I was, but at playtime.
Yeah.
But that was about it, or when I was doing art.
Yeah.
You know, I think, like, you know, I just didn't want to be there, and it sort of spoiled my childhood, I would say. It ruined it.
Yeah.
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 I think, like, you know, like, artists, really, people that love drawing like I did, are daydreamers. You know, they don't want to be in a school. They could be on the play, you know.
Yeah.
They could be on a field drawing a picture.
Yeah.
They don't need any teachers either, really.
Yeah.
You know, I just feel like you know, I just felt like school hijacked me from my mother. And like that. Hijacked me from my brother in a funny way. You know, we could have been a very close family and had a good time together, but rather we had to go to school and suffer every day learning things that I didn't really want to learn in a funny way, you know.
Yeah.
But I know that learning is important.
No, of course it is,
especially English. And
well,
all that,
in the world that we live in existing, mate, the way the world is constructed, right? If you want to do certain jobs, if you want to have a high value job, you've got to have a good education. That's just the way it works, the way it's all set up. So you've got to make sure you have your GCSEs, then get your A-levels, and then get your...
Well, I didn't like all that stuff, you see.
Likewise,
you know,
likewise. That wasn't for me
you
either.
see,
that wasn't for
schools,
me either,
if I was running the whole schools,
yeah,
I wouldn't do it with discipline, I'd do it with play.
Yeah.
A whole lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, children need to be happy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I don't feel like, because I think schools are created for children, basically getting ready to get in the army.
Yeah.
Or fight for a war or something, you know, in one way or another, you know, because you don't have to sort of, when you leave school, you don't have to sort of jump in a uniform to go to war. You can go in the office, you know, and fight the war.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of different kinds of ways that
to be honest, right, mate, I'll be telling the youth, when it comes to the youth, mate, I'll be telling the youth, listen, well, depending on how old they are, of course, but like if they're like in their early teens, say for example, like early teenage years, like you know, whatever, I'll be telling them, listen, figure out a way to attain financial freedom as soon as possible.
I wish my mum taught me that.
Once you leave school, figure out a way you can generate a lot of money as fast as possible. So then you can live the life that you want to live. And you can live by your rules. You can do, you know...
Come up with a big plan of robbing a bank or something.
No, you're not going to promote that, mate. You're not going to promote it. He's only joking.
Yeah.
He's only joking, YouTube. He's only kidding.
Come into a lot of money.
Yeah. But yeah. It's, you know, figure out that. To me, like... I know that's, a lot of people would be like, oh, money's not everything, and of course money is not everything. I'm not saying that, you know what I mean? There's much more important things than money in life, of course, we know this, family, you know, etc. But the world that we live in, we all know how it's constructed, and figuring out financial freedom at the earliest age possible is the best possible thing for any person out there. So that when they get to 25, 30 years old, they're in a position where if they want to retire and travel and do whatever they want, they can just live their life and do whatever they want. They've spent 10, 15 years of, you know, putting in the work and, you know, whatever, you know, to get what they, you know, to get where they wanted to get, and then they can just live and enjoy the rest of their life, you know, no restrictions, you know, so, yeah.
I feel like that in life today, you know, no restrictions in a funny way, you know, because I'm free with time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sort of basically retired.
Yeah.
Retired early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm retired early and I can kind of enjoy life a bit more, you know, I am. That's why I think, like, when my you know, because I was happily married, alright, and trying my best, whatever, and working hard, like you do. And I don't think I was really happy when I was married because of that.
Okay. Yeah.
And it all went kaput, the whole lot of it, you know. I didn't like it, you know, I hated the fact that it did, you know, I was trying to save my marriage, you know, everything I could do, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, and I lost it all, do you know what I mean? And a number of years, you know, I was sort of like, wow, you know, it took me a long, long time.
Yeah.
You know, struggle, you know, seeing my children and everything, you know, court cases.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare, you know, and now it's over.
Yeah.
I could find a peace of mind, you see,
yes.
again.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the first time for a very long time, you know, like you said, you found it when you were about 20 or whatever.
Well, I wasn't completely there at that age, but I found out because I went through so much shit and come out the other side of it at a young age. And when I was really started on my journey, that's when I started to find it, and it slowly increased more and more to the point of where it is today, if you see what I mean, you know.
To be honest with you, I think that when you do...
It's a gradual process.
Yeah, I think when you do get a lot of shit in your life for some reason, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I say about my childhood, right, my mum and dad divorced, yeah?
Yeah.
But still, I didn't really know what was going on by that age, yeah? And then I was living with my nan, I had a lovely nan and granddad, and they, you know, I had a granddad that used to sort of look after me and play with me a lot and teach me a lot. They were quite two wise people, really, you know, that had quite a few children already, you know.
Yeah.
Two wise old people looking after me, you know. And I think I learned a lot, really, from my nan and granddad.
Yeah.
Rather than if my mum and dad didn't divorce, I wouldn't have learned so much, I don't think, do you know what I mean? But, you know, I did have wise grandparents a bit, you know. Not the wisest in the world.
Yeah.
I wish they were wiser, you know.
Yeah.
They would have taught my mum, you know, to be wise, you know, but they didn't teach my mum to be financially free.
Yeah.
Or my mum didn't teach me to be financially free, you know, because they didn't really know. You know. So.
Yeah. Because otherwise, like you end up living a very restricted life for most of your life. You end up working a 9 to 5, or a lot of people don't even work 9 to 5 today. A lot of people have to work weekends. Like even me myself, I work a lot of weekends. You know.
I used to.
It's like, you know, you end up in a position where you're kind of like obligated to someone else. You have to obligate your time to someone else in order to you know, to provide and stuff like this. So, if as you know, as young as possible, if you can find a way, whatever career it is or whatever, you know, entrepreneurship idea it is that you want to go into, or whatever it is, whatever it may be, figure it out as young as possible. As long as you know, as young as
well,
you
it's
are.
good to be financially free and free with time.
Yeah.
You see, you know.
Well, that will give you time, because if you get to a point where you've attained enough wealth, where you can say, imagine being able to say, a young person today being able to say that they started working at 21 years old or 18 years old, and by 30 years old they were able to retire, and then all of their time from that point onwards, however long they may live after that, is their own. And they're only 30 years old.
Well, some people make it when they're 18, John.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, that in itself, though, even at that age, it's still like a blessing. Like, you know, you've got people today that are working 67, 70 years old. Some
As
people,
you know, some people are born silver spoons.
Yeah, true.
You know, like laid on a plate for them. They stay at home, don't do nothing.
Yeah.
All their lives, or they might want to do something, you know, but because they got money, it's a big stepping stone for their dreams, isn't it? You know, to come true.
Yeah.
You know, I think like if you haven't got money, it's difficult to help your dreams come true. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about like earlier on about like you've had, by the sound of it, because you said you come from you were brought up in Barbados.
Yeah.
You know, and you were born sort of in a rough area and all this, you know, and I think you must have had quite a tough life, really, yeah.
To a degree, mate,
yeah,
for sure.
And you saw a lot of horrible things.
Of course.
Yeah. And maybe guns around you and all this.
Oh yeah. Grew up in a